Hello there. Welcome to Live with the Paper Pixie. I'm Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie, coming to you live from Alpharetta, Georgia. Tonight is episode 270 of my weekly live stream. Welcome to those of you who have joined me live, and hello to those of you watching on replay. I've got two really quick and easy projects for you tonight. Forgive me because I designed them and then I realized that the bundle is sold out. However, if you already have the bundle, these are great inspiration for you. If you don't, I'm going to share a couple of bundles you can substitute for it. So we've got a really quick and easy card. I don't know what to call this, but this is inspired by a customer of mine, Ange, who sent me a card over the holidays that I absolutely loved. Wanted to show you. It's like a diagonal fold over is what I'm calling it, but it's a piece of designer series paper that we folded over the edge, and I just love the way that that looks. And a really easy treat holder. These are those Andes snap bars. I thought they were so cute for St. Patrick's Day, but also so easy to adapt for Valentine's Day or Easter or you name it, Christmas, all the things. So that's what we're creating tonight. As of tonight's live stream, the Lucky Clover bundle is sold out with a estimated arrival date of TBD. So I don't have information for you. I hope it does come back before St. Patrick's Day, but if not, we will adapt like we always do. We're stampers, we adapt. So I am going to share a couple of housekeeping things. I don't have my sidekick Brian with me at the moment, although he's on his way home from work, so he may join us eventually. But if you do have questions tonight, be sure to put a Q colon before your question. Pamela, if you're still on live, I saw you had a question. If you can do me a favor and restate that question for me and put a Q colon in front of it, I wanted to make sure I answered that for you. But put a Q colon. I will answer questions at the end of tonight's live stream so I can focus on tonight's projects, and I'll stick on until I answer all your questions tonight. When you shop with me, you earn Pixie Perks on orders of $25 or more. Please use the current host code on orders under $150. The easiest way to do that is to use my shopping link, thepaperpixie.com/shop. That will automatically add my current host code for you, so you don't have to look for it or remember it or type it in. Now, if your order is 150 or more, either don't use the host code or remove the host code because you're going to earn Stampin' Rewards on that order. And we are in the middle of celebration. Actually, we're almost done with the first month of 2 months of celebration, which is my most favorite time of the year with Stampin' Up. It's an opportunity to earn free products with purchases or buying the starter kit. So there are free products you can choose with orders of or order increments of either $50 or $100. We have two different levels of free products. Level 1 is free with $50 purchase items, and level 2 is free with $100 purchase items. Actually, the designer series paper we're using tonight called Dandy Designs is one of my favorites next to Favorite Flowers. It is a level 2. But it is a mega pack of paper. I'll show you sort of up close what that looks like on the swatch book. But that is a free with $100 purchase paper. It's 48 sheets of 12 by 12 double-sided paper. So more than enough paper to create lots of fun projects this year. Also, if you shop big, an order of $300 or more, in addition to the free level 1 or level 2 products that you can select, you also get a free host exclusive stamp set. And the best deal of the bunch is the starter kit. There's 3 different options for the starter kit. 2 of them are $129. You get to select up to $175 in product. And your choice of either the new Boho Blue Mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or the white Mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And if you've already got the Mini Boss, you can do option 3, which is $99 for $175 in product of your choice. So amazing deal on that starter kit. And that comes with so many perks and benefits like the discount, a community of fellow crafters. I'd love to have you join my team of Paper Pixies. You get to see products first. You get to see catalogs first. Did I mention the discount? Anyways, I love the starter kit option right now. That promotion is an incredible promotion. So that's the scoop there. Kona's barking because Brian just walked in the door. If you do want to take advantage of the starter kit, you've got my link here, thepaperpixie.com/join. That will take you right to where you need to go. And I always recommend you get as close to that $175, if not equal to, because you can't go over and pay the difference. But you can add anything in the online store, including items from the clearance rack for that. So hello, Brian. And Lily is also selling Girl Scout cookies. Girl Scout cookies right now are only available either for local delivery or donation to Smiles for Military now through February 27th. Direct shipping will be available starting February 27th. So a little plug there if you're interested in supporting the Girl Scouts. All right, show and tell. Well, really quick, let me show you tonight's projects that we're going to do. These are going to be quick and easy. I love these projects. And let's see, Nolan has Legos. This is our first grader, Nolan. He's got, I believe this is like a cafeteria. So they've got a table where he's got a food tray or something. This person is paying for food as well. So that's one of the projects he's been working on. If you're new here, he is Lego obsessed. So he always loves to show you his latest and greatest Lego creations. So there is that. Now Lily has a school project tomorrow. This was sort of a joint effort between Mom and Dad and Lily. I'm going to try to layer this out. You may recognize this paper. This paper was, I believe, one of last year's celebration papers, but she needed to make some type of an instrument using household items. So we've got 2 cans of, or empty cans of, I think there was salmon in these cans. This is a big can of tomatoes. And so she is going to play drums with chopsticks. Like that. How cute is that? So we had to dress it up with Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper, so she's excited to take those to school tomorrow. Maybe a little embarrassed to hit those drums in front of her classmates. She's our 4th grader. You know how it is. She's approaching middle school age. So that's from the kiddos tonight. Why don't we go ahead and jump into tonight's projects? I am going to, well, let's talk about these products a little bit really quickly, and then we're going to do the projects. My focus tonight is the Lucky Clover bundle, and y'all are loving the punch bundles. So the Country Floral, that bundle, the punch sold out. It's not scheduled to be back until April. This punch just sold out. I think it was today because I feel like the last time I checked. Anyways, these punch bundles I love because they're so quick and easy. Now, if you can't wait and you got to get your hands on a St. Patrick's Day stamp set, the stamp set is still available. And this 4-leaf clover is really easy to fussy cut. You don't need the punch. The punch is a nice to have. If I have updated information about when that's available, I will let you guys know. But it is a red rubber cling stamp set. And lots of great sentiments here. I love the sending luck and love. That's what we did on this card. And then on the inside it says Happy St. Patrick's Day. Sorry, I didn't make room for you. And then Happy St. Patrick's Day here on the treat holder. So great little punch bundle. Again, I'll keep y'all posted on the date for that. And then the designer series paper we're using is Dandy Designs. I fell in love with this paper when I was working on product shares. It is just a pack full of paper, or a pack of paper full of sort of smaller size designs, which I love for cards and treats or treat holders. It's just such a fun combination of colors and patterns. Geometric. I love stars, so I absolutely love the star patterns in here. But you've got some plaid patterns, these really cool sort of geometric patterns, polka dots, little daisies. So if you have missed this in the celebration brochure, this is free with a $100 purchase. So highly recommend it. So I think that's all I have to show you. Why don't we jump in and do the treat holder first? This is so quick and easy. I'm going to share a couple of things. My embossing powder, my clear embossing powder, which I have used on this project, I don't know if you can tell by the glare on that. I think that my embossing powder needs to be replaced, and I believe it is due to humidity here in the Atlanta area. So it's not giving me a really pretty clear thing, but it still works. So we're gonna go with that tonight, but I know you guys have asked me that question before as far as embossing powders, can they go bad? Yes, I don't know exactly what does it. I haven't had this embossing powder for a super long time, but we do have humidity, so I think that might be playing a role. But I'm gonna do, we're gonna do the wrap first, and I'm laughing at myself because I got this candy as a swap, and it's the only one that I have. So I'm gonna beg, borrow, or steal, but this is that Andes Mints Snap Bar, and I think they do have these on Amazon. I'm pretty sure they have it at, I saw it at Big Lots. They have it, I think, at Walmart. Anyways, you guys will have to let me know if you've seen these before. I love Andes Mints, and this is a really fun treat, especially for St. Patrick's Day. So we are gonna start with a piece of Designer Series paper, and this measures 3 3/8 by 6. So you can actually get 6 of these out of a sheet of 12 by 12. Okay, so 3 3/8 by 6. I'm gonna go ahead and score this along the short side. Again, this is so quick and easy. Now you could absolutely speed this up if you're gonna do multiples and kind of score on a full sheet of 12 by 12. But we're gonna go ahead and score at 1 inch. I covered up my notes. 1 1/2, 2 3/8, and 2 7/8. Okay, so that's 1 1/2, 2 3/8, 2 7/8. There was a question ahead of time from someone named Pamela about my magnets. If you want to try to grab that, I don't know if she's restated it, but it would have been at the very beginning. You may not see it if you came on late. All right, so we got that. That's really, really easy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fold and burnish. I will have a project sheet for you. I'm gonna actually combine both of these projects on it because there's no templates to go with these projects, but I wanna make sure you've got all the measurements and have something printable for you. So give me until tomorrow to do that. So essentially that is what that looks like. It's just the 4 score lines. Again, that was 1 1/2, 2 3/8, 2 7/8. All right, now, if you line up these edges, I think you'll see there's just a slight taper there, okay? So we're actually gonna adhere this on the Andes Mints Snap Bar because it actually has sort of a tapered, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. It tapers just a little bit at the top. So I did the measurements to sort of go right along those lines. So what I'm gonna do is take my tear and tape and I'm gonna run it along the back edge of that 1 inch section. Not the little 1/2 inch one here, but I'm gonna run it along the back edge of the 1 inch, just right up to the edge there. There we go. That is right, 6 from 12 by 12. You'll have a little bit of extra Designer Series paper to spare. All right, grabbing my tools here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the backing off. And then what we're gonna do is that middle 1 inch section, that's the one that's gonna go over the top. And then I'm gonna fold, so here's the way I have it. This is going in vertical, okay? I've got the 1 inch section here on the left, the 1/2 inch section here on the right, okay? And I'm lining up the front of the bar in that middle 1 inch section. I'm gonna fold the right side to the back and then the left side. Okay, now our tear and tape is on the back of this edge. So I'm just gonna use my bar here and line it up and press. Like, could not be easier, you guys. And that is not going anywhere. It's wrapped around there nicely. And the way that the wrapper tapers like this is gonna keep that Designer Series paper on there. So not even a box, it's like a sleeve for it. I love the way it looks. And this is kind of a fun pattern for St. Patrick's Day because you've got the 2 greens in there, but you've got some surprise colors with the fresh freesia, and I believe that's Pool Party and Calypso Coral. Really, really cute. So we're gonna go ahead and decorate this. First thing I'm gonna do is grab a piece of basic white. This piece measures 5/8 by 3 1/2. And I just did that kind of to fit the Happy St. Patrick's Day sentiment. And the inks we're using tonight are Granny Apple Green and Versamark. Okay, let's go ahead and do the Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to wing it here and hope that I get it straight. You can always practice on a sheet of, actually, let me show you how I do that. I'm glad to have you home.
She did rephrase.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm just kind of eyeballing this on a scrap piece of grid paper. Yeah, there we go. That's actually stamping pretty straight. If you try to adhere this on your clear block straight, sort of with that edge, that helps you kind of line it up as well. Or you can use the Stamparatus. So we'll see if when I do it again on the real deal, how I'm gonna do this. Let's see. It does help to be standing up for this for some reason. I feel like I can get things more straight when I'm standing up. Put your back into it, I always say. There we go. All right. So we've got the sentiment, and then we're going to go ahead and punch the ends. I love this punch. This does come in a bundle, the Happy Labels bundle, I believe. It's got a great sentiment stamp set that comes with it. Show that to you. This is the Happy Labels stamp set. So these all work with the Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. But this is also a great punch for so many different sentiments. Now, I did this 5/8 of an inch in width, and the grooves in here are 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch, or 1 inch. So it's going to kind of fit between them. I like to not even look at that and just flip it to the back. And I am just eyeballing to see that I get the scallops centered before I punch. And that looks pretty good. And I'll do the same thing. There we go. So you got those cute little kind of scalloped edges there. Almost looks like a piece of tape torn or like washi tape. The other end has more of a postage stamp edge. Really, really cute. All right, I'm gonna grab a scrap of Granny Apple Green, and I'm gonna do both of the shamrocks or the 4-leaf clovers in one fell swoop here. I am gonna heat emboss, so there'll be a little bit of noise, but the microphone doesn't pick it up too much. I'm gonna grab, let's see, my embossing buddy. This is my original one from 2010. We do have the Embossing Editions toolkit. I like to just rub the area as opposed to dropping it. Now, if I were to drop this, well, you're not gonna be able to see that in the green. It leaves all that powder on there, and I just feel like that's too much. So rubbing it usually works just fine. And I've got Versamark ink here. And then my clear powder. Now, let me show you before we do this really quick. Mine looks a little bit like some humidity has gotten to it because the granules are kind of sticking together here. So I don't think these containers are totally airtight, and that might be what's going on here, but I'll show you when it's done. I don't know, I like a better clear embossed image than I'm getting with this, so I might try a new bottle of embossing powder and see if that improves. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp 2 of these in Versamark. Right. My nose is itching today. Going to try not to make a mess. These are just bead storage trays that I use to pick up my embossing powder. Plastic spoons work fine. Another scrap piece of paper works as like a scoop. I just shake off all the excess, but you see all the embossing powder there. Now that looks really nice, but for some reason when I heat it, it's not happy with me. All right. Bringing in my heat tool here. I don't have an outlet near me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and heat this. See if I can catch the angle so you can see the powder start to turn. No matter how many times I do this, it's still magic to me. There we go, starting to turn. Obsessed, I love it. All right, there we go. These actually look pretty good, but they're a little bit mottled there, okay? But I love the fact that it makes that Granny Apple Green look a little bit darker, a little bit of shine there. So I'm gonna go ahead and punch those out with the Lucky Clover punch, which at the moment is out of stock. Such a cute punch. I can see why it's out of stock. Y'all are loving this punch. So I got one. And two. All right, so I'm gonna save one of those for later. Bringing in our Andes Mints, or our Andes Snap Bar, Andes Mints Snap Bar. I'm gonna go ahead and put this at a little bit of an angle here. Obviously this sticks out quite a bit, but it's still so stinking cute. So I'm gonna put a little bit of liquid glue just right in the center and put that off to the left here. I kind of like having the stem of that hanging off to the left there. And you could pop this up if you wanted to, but I'm just gonna do liquid glue. Ooh, Nicole, that is a fantastic idea. She's, yeah, the, what are they called? The silicone.
Silica packets.
Yeah, the silica packets. Such a good idea. Now, it's funny. The silica packets, we bought a whole bunch of those because, did I drop my phone? Oh, my AirPods. My AirPods went through the washing machine. This guy did it. And I put them in a bag with a whole bunch of those silica packets. Worked pretty well for those. I just get a little bit of static, like there's water in my ear. No. All right, so there's that. Now I felt like it needed a little bit more. So I grabbed the Simply Elegant trim, which I love the gold. Well, I love the silver too, but I seem to be using the gold a lot more. And I'm just gonna go ahead and tie a bow. Just gonna get those loops where I want them. Love the gold. Anything gold with green for St. Patrick's Day. And in case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm pulling the tails down at the same time so that when I cut them, they're both the same length, like that, okay? We're gonna bring that back for the card here in a minute. And I'm gonna take a mini glue dot and my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm gonna kind of burrito roll the glue dot here. That's just so it will fit. See if you can see what I'm doing there. Just kind of rolled it over onto itself. I'm gonna stick that on the back of the Elegant Trim bow. Now I'm doing this left-handed, but I'm right-handed. And just press that right there in the center of our 4-leaf clover. Look at that. Love that gold with the green. So cute. So how easy was that? 3 3/8 by 6 inches is all you need to do a designer series paper wrap on these Andes Mints snap bars, and then you can have some fun with punches. Now a couple other punches that would work with this, same with the card as well. I'm gonna warn you right now, if you want the Easter Bunny punch and you haven't already ordered it, I would get it sooner than later because I have a feeling this is going to sell out much like the Country Bouquet and the Clover Punch. Or is that what it's called? Yeah. Anyways, so Easter Bunny would work really cute with both of these projects. Even if you got the Heart Punch Pack, that would be cute for Valentine's Day for this. If you do have the Country Bouquet punch, that would work as well for this project. The Ladybug punch, I mean, any of these animal and leaf and flower type punches will work really well with this. Also, the new Petal Park Builder, that would be really cute. Do a flower there on the end. So you've got lots of options if you haven't gotten your hands on this Clover punch yet. The Daisy punch, I could go on and on and on. All right, so that is the treat holder. Super quick and easy. Let's jump into the card. I'm going to be quick tonight. All right, so I don't know what to call this, and so my inspiration is my customer Ange, and Ange, I can't find your card. It's ingrained in my head though, so I'm not sure if you got the idea from somewhere, but I'm calling it a diagonal fold over. I may come up with a better name for it if there's not already a name out there. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but it is a square panel of designer series paper that is literally folded over the edge, and I absolutely love how that works, not only for the front of the card, but it's a nice little happy surprise on the inside. So I'm using sort of a non-traditional St. Patrick's Day base for this, taking my hints from the Dandy Designs Designer Series paper. So we're using fresh freesia with basic white, and Granny Apple Green is our green color here, same as with the treat holder. So for the card base, I've got a piece of fresh freesia that measures 5.5 by 8.5. And I've scored it right down the middle of the 8.5 inch side at 4 1/4. Now, I don't know if you can see that score line, but that is a valley score line. I'm going to turn into a mountain fold and burnish. And actually, this one lined up for me. Now, last week I shared a tip that I was tickled about. That if for some reason, because sometimes cardstock's not cut exactly right or it's not scored exactly right, human error or human intervention can happen. If you're getting where your edges are not lining up, use your Simply Scored or a similar tool, and you can press both of these edges into the Simply Scored and then burnish. Okay, I wouldn't burnish too hard because this is like perpendicular lines happening here, but then you'll make sure that that edge is lined up really nicely on the card. Next, I have got a panel that measures 3 3/4 by 5, and then this piece that measures 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So these two are going to layer together and then layer here. And that is just, I love the tone on tone layers there. It just gives a little bit of added interest to the card. I'm going to go ahead and trust myself here and glue these together. And if I get my sentiment cattywampus, it is what it is. It's handmade, right? Liquid glue is your friend here, especially with these tight layers, because it gives you a chance to slide things into place and center them and get them right where you want them. Now, I would not recommend dimensionals on these layers because of the fact that you're wrapping that designer series paper around the edge. You don't want too much dimension underneath it. Like that. I just love sort of that framed edge with the tone on tone color there. All right. I've got a layer for the inside. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and that's just going to layer on the inside, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp this one now. Actually, let's just stamp while we've got these both out. Again, bringing back the stamp set, we're going to use Sending Luck and Love on the front, and then Happy St. Patrick's Day on the inside. All right, so Granny Apple Green. Like so. And then Sending Luck and Love. I'm going to do that in the lower left corner. Like so. Sending Luck and Love. So cute. I love the font in this stamp set. A love fonts in general, don't I? I think I say that every week. All right. Do I have the next piece? Yes, maybe. I thought I cut the piece, but I did cut one, but it was a square. That's all right. No, I'll just cut another one. I'm 99% sure I cut that ahead of time, but you know how things grow legs and walk away in here. All right, so 3 7/8 by 3 7/8 is the size that we want here. It's all right, I got it.
This one?
Nope. You can get 9 of these out of a sheet of 12 by 12. So again, 3 7/8 inch square, just under 4 by 4. And all I'm going to do is basically score this right down the middle, okay? There's a couple things you can use. I'm going to show you both. So on your paper trimmer, you just line up opposite corner to corner. So I'm putting those corners right in that groove. Make sure, don't do what I did last week. Make sure you're scoring instead of cutting, okay? So that's one way, just using your paper trimmer. Alternatively, you can use your Simply Scored, and you'll see that I've got a 6-inch Sharpie line running down the middle, and you can do the same thing here. Lining up point to point on that Sharpie line. Again, I added that, it doesn't come with it, and then just score right down the middle, okay? Your third option is just to fold it from corner to corner. No need to score if you don't want to. I'm just gonna fold on that and burnish. Now that 3 7/8 is just about, when it's cut diagonally or folded diagonally, just about the same width as this 5.5 inch piece. So it's not exact, but what is that? Geometry? Trigonometry? I don't even know what subject it is, but the diagonal line of a 3 7/8 inch square is pretty darn close to fitting right there on the edge. But how cool is that? It's almost like, it reminds me of like a napkin or something like that. I don't know.
Some people said envelope fold card.
Envelope fold. I like that.
That's what the others have called it. That they've said.
Cool. I forgot to glue my inside. Let's do that. I'm like, what's this piece doing here? Such a quick and easy, but also interesting card layout. I love sort of different, non-traditional layouts. And then obviously using our designer series paper always takes things up a notch. Now I think you can see the back side of the Standee Designs. How perfect would that be for St. Patrick's Day projects? Love that. All right, so what I like to do is do kind of one half at a time. I'm just gonna put liquid glue up to the score line. And then I'll just put that on my surface. Got my card kind of open, and I'm gonna take this liquid glue I love for this again. I'm just gonna slide that right up to the score line there. Lining it up right and left. Making sure that will fold down. So now I can come in with glue here on the opposite half. And then we'll press that into place. There we go. Cute. Now don't be afraid of white space. I know I might personally have a hard time leaving a lot of white space, and I feel like I need to fill it, but there's also something so beautiful about lots of white space. So I'm gonna grab that other clover that we created. I'm gonna pop that here. Now, because of the punch, you know, the edges kind of curl a little bit. I'm gonna kind of go with that dimension and only put liquid glue kind of right in the center of the back, just like I did on the treat holder, and just pop that here. Now it's liquid glue, so it's slipping and sliding on me a little bit, but as soon as it starts to take hold, that's gonna be on there good and strong. All right. Bring in the trusty Simply Elegant trim back. I have this scrap piece, I think, from product shares. From whenever this was, a few product shares ago. If there's ever any kinks in the ribbon, we keep those for ourselves so you guys don't get it. So I'm usually working with pieces and parts here. Don't want anything to go to waste. All right, now I'm just pulling and zhuzhing a little bit. Sometimes with the trim, it kind of goes a little wonky on you. That'll work there. All right, pull the tails down. Glue dots. Again, my little burrito roll here. Julie, where is your take your pick tool? They really do sprout legs and walk away. Oh no, it's right. I put it back in the right spot. But my brain is so conditioned to think that it's somewhere else. All right, just sticking that on the back of the knot there. Gotta twist that a little bit. All right, it's fighting me tonight. There we go. Cute. Another bit of gold bling on there for sort of a non-traditional St. Patrick's Day card. I love that pop of purple there with the fresh freesia. So there we go. Sending luck and love. What do they call it? An envelope fold?
I think it's envelope flap fold.
Envelope flap fold. I love that. Love seeing that on the inside, that contrast between the pattern and the fresh freesia. Little inside sentiment. So those are tonight's projects. There we go, for St. Patrick's Day, but you can switch them up. The Standy Designs is so good for Easter projects too. So use that Easter Bunny punch. Again, these snap bars. I love the green packaging for St. Patrick's, but cute for Christmas and all kinds of stuff as well. So yay, those are tonight's projects. Wow, a little early tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into Q&A. Let me get that teed up for you. I'm looking forward to your questions as always. All right, go up to the top here. Thank you guys for helping each other out. I love that. Oh, cute. This was actually a, I got it on the incentive trip, on the Greek Isles incentive trip. So on the back, it says, does it say Greek Isles on there, I think?
There's no word.
Oh, there's no words. It's just like the ship.
The ocean.
Gotcha. So yeah, it was a gift on the Greek Isles cruise incentive trip. I love it too. I forgot to take it off before live streaming. Awesome, Pamela. Okay, what is the brand and size of the magnetic closures that you use for some of your projects, and where do you purchase them? So I purchased them from, let's see if this works, Total Element. That link actually is an affiliate link, but it'll take you directly to the magnets that I use. I want to say they're 1/4 of an inch by 1/32 of an inch. Total Element is a US company. They've got great prices, pretty easy to get free shipping on it. And the magnets that I recommend and use, I think you get 200 of them in a package. So it takes a long time to get through them, but I love Total Element. Proud to be an affiliate for them. Their magnets are great and inexpensive as well. So that's what I recommend. Great question, Pamela. Did I see a fold of mine acknowledged in a Paper Pumpkin fan post on Facebook? I did not, Linda. I actually don't visit that. I try not to visit Facebook groups too much because otherwise I get stuck down a rabbit hole, but I'll have to check it out. Thank you. Brian's cameo came late. I can give you a cameo right now. Let's do that. You ready? Brian is here. All right, hold on. Let me turn you off. Yeah, Brian just got home from work. He actually got off shift early, so I wasn't expecting him to be here, but he wasn't here for the intro. See, you're always missed, dear. Let's see. Great suggestion. I love this from all of you. Sharon, thank you. A pack of silica in the embossing powder. I'm going to try that. and keep you all posted. Thank you. Do I know if Stampin' Up! Will have other celebration offers in February? I do not know, Kathy. They'll let us know, obviously, but usually they don't give us a whole lot of a heads up. So we'll see if there's some new stuff to choose from for February. I mean, we all love new stuff, so you never know, right? Do I remember how much the snap bars were? I didn't purchase this. I got this as a swap. When I was looking on Amazon, I was seeing prices anywhere from like $1 and change to $2 per bar. I mean, it's a pretty good sized bar. Like, I wouldn't be able to eat that whole thing in one sitting.
People weighed in on what they.
Is it around that price? Yeah.
Like
Okay.
Less than 2.
Less than $2. Awesome. So yeah, definitely pay attention to pricing because, as you know, on Amazon, I always try to look to see where it's shipped and sold from. And I always gravitate towards the shipped and sold by Amazon, where it says Amazon and Amazon. Because otherwise, sometimes there's not price gouging per se, but there's a definite difference in price if it's a different seller, for example. So just do your research before you purchase and try to get the best price.
Well, if it's sold and
If it's shipped and sold by
it's
Amazon.
in their ecosystem.
Gotcha. All right, let's see. Ramona, I just watched an old episode of you wearing a happy St. Patrick's Day hat. Do I always dress up for St. Patrick's Day? You know what? I forgot to do it last year. I did just get an Amazon delivery today. I may or may not wear something for St. Patrick's Day 2023. No, yeah, I will. So I forgot about that. I had those, what was it? Like dealy boppers. I had something on my head for St. Patrick's. I am a March baby, so I love St. Patrick's Day. Actually, my mom's due date for me was on St. Patrick's Day, but I came 10 days early. Does embossing powder go bad? I don't know if going bad is the right way to call it, but I have had embossing powder that doesn't perform as well as it did initially out of the jar. So, for example, this one, I have to be really careful. If I heat it too long, it's almost like the embossing powder. It stops being a powder once you heat it up, but it almost like soaks into the cardstock fibers. There is also a little bit of a difference between the color of cardstock that you use. I've noticed that. And I think we've had this discussion before, and it's not a scientific answer, but I feel like some of the colors tend to change sort of I don't know, I'm not saying that right, but I do feel like sometimes embossing powders can soak into the paper after you heat them. You do need to be really careful about how long you're heating it for. I would heat it only until it turns and then try to stop. But yeah, I think humidity can play a role. If you've had embossing powder for a really long time, sometimes that won't adhere as well to the paper once it's heated. So just kind of, take a look at it. And if you're happy with the result, great. If not, it might be time for a new jar. Love that. I love this suggestion. Such a great one. My hive mind. Will the Boho mini die cut machine be available if you don't sign up as a demonstrator? That's a great question, Laura. I don't know. I think it'll all be dependent on inventory after the promotion. So I don't know. I can't speak for Stampin' Up, but if they do have inventory left, we may see it in the future as an opportunity to purchase, but I am not sure. They haven't discussed any plans for that. Awesome. $1.49. That sounds great. So Kroger. Yes. Country Bouquet, April 17th. Envelope fold card. That's awesome. That'll help me search for it. Do I keep paper and ink pads in the retired colors? I don't typically, Penny, although I'm way behind in getting my retired items. So I do have a handful of retired colors. I think 2 years worth of in colors. I don't typically keep those. I will typically sell them in my retired item sale. But you never know if they ever do a color refresh, maybe some colors might come back. So sort of totally up to you as far as keeping it or passing it on. But I do not keep them typically. What criteria should I use to decide whether I put glue just on edges versus including some scribbled through the center section too? This is a good question because I seem to do it both ways, don't I? I don't know. Typically for card layers, especially with the basic white, I try to just do the perimeter, and that's just kind of out of habit. I'm sort of being conservative with the adhesive that I use, but also, and we've talked about this before, just in case you happen to see the glue line, I do like to kind of try to keep it around the edge, but it's completely up to you. If you keep it, you don't really need to do any more than around the edge. Because if you're doing it around the edge, that cardstock's going to stay put. I think the middle, kind of scribble in the middle is probably unnecessary, but we're all kind of in the habit of doing it. So totally up to you. With the liquid glue, my glue lasts for so long that I don't feel like it's a waste putting it in the middle, but it's really kind of one of those things you do by habit. But I don't know. That's a tough one to answer, but a great question. Do I ever decorate envelopes with DSP to match the card? So this is one of those, a little bit of a touchy subject, Helen, because there is literally team no naked envelopes, or there's team me who's like, well, the envelopes are going to go in the trash anyways. So I don't typically decorate the envelopes. When I do it on the rare occasion, I love it. I love getting decorated envelopes in the mail, but to me, I'm such a, I always refer to myself as a lazy stamper. I'm not really lazy, but I do like to focus on the project itself because I kind of think, I don't know, the envelope might end up in the trash, but a decorated envelope is beautiful. You just won't see me do it very often. Do I know if there will be another clearance refresh? There are always clearance refreshes. We just don't know when they happen. So this last one was a really big, robust one. And the clearance rack, I haven't looked at it in a little while, but it still had lots of great items on it. I don't think there'll be a clearance rack in the super near future, but you can, they typically always refresh that, I don't know, at least on a quarterly basis, I would guess, around that. Let's see. Yay for March babies! Have I seen the tiny Tic Tac boxes on Amazon? Ooh, Edie, I have a tiny Tic Tac project on my blog. Are you going to look? This one has also been a little bit, it's so funny. This one's been a little bit of a challenging project because it's an envelope punch board project. I don't know if you guys remember the one that I'm talking about, those of you that are familiar with my projects, but it is the little mini Tic Tac boxes, the mini Tic Tac matchbox. There's that one, and then, ooh, I got a bunch of them. There was the one that was the envelope punch board. Brian's looking for them on my blog right now. Definitely the Matchbox, that mini Tic Tac one, and there's a third one that was like, sorry, I'm making you work hard for this one. Okay, it's like an envelope punch board project. Anyways, I think that envelope punch boards over time had maybe some minor adjustments to it, and so my original measurements didn't work for a lot of people, but I've got 3 or 4 mini Tic Tac boxes on, oh, you know what? It was an Andy's Mints one. So just grab those 2. Never mind. Ignore me on the envelope punch board project. That was for Andy's Mints. But yeah, I've got 2 projects, Edie, on my blog for you. Brian's going to grab the links and pop them in the chat, which you can always go to my blog at thepaperpixie.com and hit the little magnifying glass in the upper right corner and search for Tic Tac, and you'll see projects for those. Ooh, another good question, Deborah. My tear and tape doesn't always stick for very long. Do you find that to be the case? Yes and no. It all depends on the project. So, I don't have it sitting around here. Actually, this is a good example. As an example, this project that I did, do you see how that's already separated? So this one that I did a couple of weeks ago when I did the Easy Valentine's projects, that was using tear and tape. And you can see that the project is letting go, or that tear and tape is letting go. That is because the paper is wanting to separate, and so the tear and tape is just giving up. So tear and tape works really well if you're using it on a project that doesn't have a lot of tension to it. So for example, this project, that's just the sleeve, but the Andes Mints bar wrapper, this tear and tape is likely going to hold for a long, long, long time because there's not a lot of tension. The score lines are keeping that paper in place, and the tear and tape is just an extra level of adhesive there. But if you have something like this project where there is some tension, I have noticed that that tear and tape does let go over time. So in that case, I would suggest the Tombow Mono Multi instead. I've had more luck with that sticking than tear and tape. But yes, I have experienced that. It all depends on the project. Again, tension sometimes causes tear and tape to let go. Another project that happens to a lot is the sour cream containers. I found that those pop open over time as well. So in that case, sometimes I will just burnish extra, or I'll use a staple instead or in addition to tear and tape. So yeah, I have experienced that. Could it be the Versamark? It possibly could be Rosie. I did just recently re-ink it. And I have other embossing powders that work just fine with my Versamark. The two that I have a challenge with right now is the clear and the black. Those two are both showing signs of maybe a little bit too much humidity. Nope, you haven't missed it yet, Carla. I'm gearing up for it. I was doing actually a bunch of work on my website today, trying to get things ready for that. So stay tuned. I'll let you all know. So Maria, I try to do this once a year, although I'm about a year behind. So when I do my next retired item sale, it's going to be a lot. But it is sold on my website, thepaperpixie.com. I have a store on there that I list all of my retired items. And it's typically stamps, punches, dies, bundles, sometimes some color bundles with cardstock and inks and that type of thing. Paper, embellishments, ribbon, and that stuff ends up going into mystery bags, and that'll be a little ways away, but I'll get some mystery bags put together too.
Embossing folders.
Embossing folders, thank you. Let's see. Oh, I do have a new ear piercing. You guys are like, you have laser eyes. Yeah, this is my new one here, or one of my new ones, and also this one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, Sandy, I think you've got a question here without a Q, but I'm going to grab it. I have a question. No crafter addresses. I watch Crafters Companion TV and have their products. No one on YouTube uses their products. Are their products inferior? Great question. I have never used Crafters Companion products, so I can't speak to that. All right, I have reached the end of the Q&A, I believe. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed tonight's live stream and got some tips or tricks from tonight's projects or the Q&A, I would love it if you would subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever I have new videos for you. We're live every single Wednesday. Next week will be episode 271, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, live every Wednesday. Thank you all so much. Give me until tomorrow. I'll put together a project sheet with the measurements for both of tonight's projects so you can print that or save it to your computer and can make these projects at any time. Again, if you don't already have the Lucky Clover bundle, it'll work with the Easter Bunny. I know that's not the right name, but the Easter Bunny bundle. A lot of different projects you can adapt if you don't have the Lucky Clover bundle. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for those of you watching on replay. In about 24 hours, I will update this video with the chapters so you can jump directly to different sections. It's an easy and fun way to navigate my live streams on replay. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week, and I will see you next Wednesday, February 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful and blessed week. Take care. Bye.